Over the past 809 days, I've dedicated my life to surfing. This video will show you what it's like when a totally regular guy goes all in. So let's go back to 2019. This is when I first touched a surfboard. So I was studying abroad in Australia with my friends, and I first touched a surfboard at this point. I then continued to do it on and off for about 3 years, and guys, my progress during this time was so minimal. If you're someone who can only surf 1 to 2 times a month, which was me, and went 3 to 4 months without surfing at all, it seems like every time you get in the water again, you start back from scratch. So I'm gonna be honest, the first 3 years of my surf journey, I really wouldn't count them as very fruitful because I just was not consistent enough. Then I got my big break. In March of 2023, the company I was working for went under, and I was given this unique opportunity in life to really think about what was going on and the direction I wanted to send my life in. When everything else around me didn't make sense, I had no job, I had no girlfriend, I had really nothing attached to me, I began to pour more effort and energy into surfing. I moved back home with my parents, saved up some cash, and then bought a one-way ticket to Indonesia and decided to go all in. At first, the progress was unnoticeable. I would spend days surfing in Uluwatu and not catch a single wave. I was amazed at the talent I saw in the water, and to be honest, I saw that surfing had much more layers than I initially realized. The biggest thing I learned from these first few months in the water was just the importance of getting comfortable in the water, seeing big waves roll through, and not panicking, and just keeping my cool. Through trial and error, things started to improve bit by bit, and I was able to catch 1 or 2 more waves each session. I started to get my confidence up, and I realized I really enjoyed surfing big waves. Maybe it was just to prove it to myself that I could do it, but I was never concerned with style points. I was never concerned with getting video. I was just chasing this feeling that surfing gave me. And for me, I was able to find that feeling by surfing the biggest, hollowest waves I could find. To be honest, I was more of an adrenaline junkie than I was a surfer. As you can see from these clips, I would paddle into anything. What I learned from this was that pushing yourself on the really big days was a great way to make yourself more comfortable on the smaller days. Additionally, we learned so much from big wipeouts. I recognized that the fear I had in my head was usually much worse than the wipeout itself. This wasn't always the case. I did have some pretty gnarly wipeouts. I got some pretty gnarly cuts all over my body and my face and my head. But for the most part, I could charge into a massive wave and the water would take me, and it was really just water at the end of the day. You would get spit into the spin cycle a few times, but pop up and have a new appreciation for life. Additionally, at this stage, I was still training like a gym bro. Heavy lifting and unilateral movements, like barbell squats and bench presses. Over the past 809 days, I've begun to train more bilateral movements, which are side-to-side unsymmetric movements, and I began to work on my flexibility through developing a yoga practice and stretching daily. Slowly but surely, these exercises helped me in the surf. I used the Surf Athlete app for dryland training throughout my progression. Feel free to download it at the link below. It will help your surf movement and it helps me out a little bit. So once I transformed my body to be able to catch waves more often, now it was time to get some videos and analyze my surfing. Over the past 6 months, I've had training sessions with professional surf coaches. Guys, these are some of the best surf coaches on the internet. I could not recommend them enough. These guys include Doug Silva, who coached guys like Kai Lenny and Koa Rothman, Chris Mills, who's famous for the Surf Athlete app, and we've actually partnered together. Again, you can click the link below if you would like. And Jacob Mellish, who is known on Instagram as Surf Yogi Jacob. He's a tremendous surfer himself and is able to put these ideas into really succinct concepts. So you can view all these coaching sessions at the playlist I have titled Surf Coach Video Analysis here on YouTube. And to be honest, guys, this was the one thing I wish I did sooner. I really wish when I first started out, I reached out to someone to get video analysis. The reason being, you're able to third person yourself and get objective advice on what you can do better in the water. For me, I just wasn't confident enough to really want to look at myself on film because yes, it can be depressing. Surfing feels incredible. It feels like the coolest thing in the world. And then once we see ourselves surfing and we compare that to a professional surfer, we realize how far we are behind. This is a point in anyone's surf journey where you admit your ignorance and you become a bit more humble. And for me, it took me a while to get to that point, but I was really happy I did. During this time, I also moved down to Nicaragua, where I'm currently based, and I now work as an independent videographer and surf coach for beginner to intermediate surfers. Getting the chance to help others just a few steps below me come up the surf learning curve and see their surf journeys has been no doubt the most rewarding thing I've done professionally. And I think this can be a meta lesson for you guys out there who are looking to turn your passions into a career. If you dedicate yourself for a number of years to a certain pursuit, you will have the knowledge and ability to help others come up the learning curve. You don't necessarily need to be a pro surfer to help people just a few steps below you. The same way I look up to these professional surf coaches for my surf coaching, as they're a few rungs above me, there are people now that look up to me who are just starting out and asking for advice and things to do. So keep that in mind if you're looking to pursue something and turn your passion into a career. There's no easy way to do it, but trust me, it is very rewarding. And for me, I feel like this is just the beginning. And I think my surf ability and the lessons I'll learn through serving will just expand. The first 809 days have been pretty great, but stay tuned for the next 809 days. I think they might be even better.